Hey there, this is Red. It's time for another episode of Red Plays. All right, we're going to a new game, but not really a new game kind of situation here. Keyforge is a game that I've enjoyed immensely. I like the aspects of Keyforge that are you buy a deck and you have a deck that has all the cards in it, and those are the cards that you play with. So there's no deck building piece of this. You buy the cards, it's pre-constructed, you've got your three houses, and you play with what's in the deck. I like that a lot. Keyforge has been a competitive head-to-head game. They just came out with Keyforge Adventures, which is a cooperative solo game. So that's what we're going to roll through here. I really like the idea behind this, and I'm excited to see how this evolves. After playing so much Marvel Champions, I think they can go into some really neat places with this. All right, so we're going to do a run through of Keyforge Adventures. So what's going on in Keyforge Adventures is you're going to fight against the Keyraken, and I'll put a link down to the Fantasy Flight site so you can download all this is downloadable material right now. Um, and I'll put the links out there. These are cards I just printed off on my printer and put them into sleeves. Kind of put another magic card in there, put a piece of paper on top of it. So like this card here is just a, oh, get in there. It's just a piece of paper, right, on top of a magic card. There we go. And that gives me my deck here of all my Keyraken cards. So you've got a Keyraken deck that you create. You can grab one of your Keyforge decks. I'm using my Barbosa deck right here, which is that one, Untamed, Discs, and Shadows. Throw that up in the corner here. The next thing you're going to need is you're going to need a Keyraken card. So your Keyraken is just this huge, awesome looking beast. And really same thing as just printed out a piece of the paper and I threw it in a big sleeve here. And the Keyraken's power is equal to 30 times the number of players. Since I'm playing solo, it's going to be 30. All right, he deals 3 while fighting, plus 2 armor for each unforged key the active player has. And my goal is going to be if the Keyraken is destroyed, the players win the game. All right, so I'm trying to total up 30 damage against the Keyraken. Now the Keyraken does not count as a creature for most aspects of the game. Like your cards that deal damage to a creature do not deal damage. You can't target those at the Keyraken. You can attack him like he's a creature with your creatures, but you can't use cards that deal damage. All right, also what we've got out there is we've got the whole high tide, low tide mechanic going on. So for low tide, the cost for the Keyraken to advance is 3, which is this is going to be kind of pivotal to the game here in a second. I can spend 2 to raise it to high tide, and then if I do that at high tide, it's going to cost the Keyraken 6 to advance. And the goal of the Keyraken, so I win by defeating the Keyraken wins by advancing 4 times. Okay. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get cards out there to, ideally I want to forge keys to reduce his armor so I can take him out. Plus I'm trying to keep him from not advancing. Now the normal way the game works is the Keyraken's going to get 2 cards on his turn. I'm going to play easy mode so he's only get 1 card on his turn. Just because I played many games early on where he got 2 cards and I got destroyed. Maybe that's because I was in learning mode, but we're also in learning mode here. I'll make the game go a little bit faster. I'll give him, well, make the game go a little bit faster in that if I win potentially, getting 1 card will make the game go faster. I will lose a lot faster if I were to give him 2 cards. So that might actually make for a shorter game, but that's not the kind of game we want. Ideally, I would like a game where I win. All right, anyway. So we're getting ready to go here. We've got the Keyraken out there. He starts with his 30 health out there. I've got my 3 unforged keys. I'm going to grab my 6 cards. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, unlike normally in Keyforge, you would only get to play 1 on your first turn. I can play all of my cards of any house that I choose on the first turn. So I'm looking, I've got 3 Untamed cards. I've got a discard, not a discard, a discard. 3 Untamed here. 2 shadows. So the problem that I have with my Untamed cards here, it's all exhaust and it's creature effect stuff that doesn't do me any good. I do have a couple of shadow cards here, but both of them are they're steel cards, which don't do me any good with nothing out there from the Keyraken yet. So I could just play my succubus. So this is going to be one of the things is there's a lot of effects that don't really matter against the Keyraken. So right there, during their draw step, your opponent refills their hand to 1 less card. Well, the Keyraken's not really refilling his hand. He's just going to draw a card every turn. So there's a lot of effects that have no use in this game. So Keyforge, I'm going to choose a house. The house I'm going to choose is Shadows. So I'm going to put Naughty the Thief into play. So Naughty the Thief's got 2 health. You can see Shadows up there. He's elusive, so the first time the creature is attacked, no damage is dealt. And as an action, I can steal 1. But, so when I bring characters into play, they're exhausted. So I'm going to use some of my new tokens, I think. There we go. So he's going to come into play exhausted. All right. I'm going to also bring an Urchin into play. So he's only got 1 health. He also has elusive. When I play him, I get to steal 1, but he's earned no shards so far, so I don't get to steal anything. So that's kind of a downer. All right, so he's going to come into play exhausted also. And then I could potentially discard shadow cards that I have, but I don't have any, so I'm going to be done at that point in time. So I'm going to unexhaust my stuff, and I'm going to draw back up to my hand size of 6. So we're going to get another shadows card, 2 shadows cards. All right. Now we're going to go over to the Keyraken's turn. So what's going to happen on the Keyraken's turn is first thing we're going to check and see if we can advance. And we can't advance because it costs, right now it costs 3 to advance. So can't do that. Next thing is we're going to play any cards that are in the archive, which is the Keyraken's kind of hand. Doesn't have any right now, so don't have to worry about that. So next is we're going to draw a card and play a card. We get, boom, Race to the Surface. So he's going to get 1 Amber Shard. And then he's going to get, for each time the Keyraken has advanced this game, it archives 1 adventure card. Draw that many cards from your own deck. All right, so he hasn't advanced, so neither of us get anything out of that. All right, so that's our draw card. Next up, normally you would draw 2, but we're playing easy mode. All right, next up, Keyraken would reap on his turn. So he's going to reap, which in Keyforge is an action that you take in order to get a shard. So he would exhaust and reap, right? Then I would go through any creatures that he has in his battle line. Then I would go through any artifacts, which there isn't any. All right, so then his turn is done. All right, now it's over to my turn. So on my turn, I need to decide which house I'm going to go with, and I think I'm going to go with Shadows at this point in time again, because I want to be able to use these Shadows cards. So if I could choose Untamed, but the deal with if I choose Untamed is I can't use cards outside of that house. I can only use cards inside that house. So even though I have these creatures out, I couldn't do anything with them on my turn. So we're going to choose Shadows. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this Umbra into play. So a little 2 health dude, and he's got skirmish. So when I fight, he's dealt no damage in return, which is pretty cool. That's a neat thing. And when I fight, I get to steal 1. All right, now I've got this battle line out here. This is one of the things about Keyforge is when I go to bring him out, I decide which side of the battle line he goes on. Normally you can't like hop in the middle. So I'm going to pick one side. I think we'll go right over here on this side of the battle line. All right. Next up is we're going to play this card, which is an action, which is Hidden Stash, which says I can archive a card. Now I'm going to get 1 shard for playing it, and I get to archive a card. So I'm going to play that. I get 1. So we'll add 1 here to my pool. And then I get to archive a card. I think I'm going to archive this Succubus. So the archive in Keyforge is kind of like a little side hand that you put aside, and you can draw that hand into your hand at the beginning of the turn. So I know I've got a little discard over there that I could potentially take into my hand at the beginning of my turn. Oh, this guy comes into play like that. Okay, so what am I going to do with these guys right here? So I have an action where I can steal one, and I'm going to use that action. So what I can do with these guys is I can attack. So if I attack, the Keyraken's going to do 3 damage back, and currently, because I don't have any forged keys, he has 6 armor. So attacking is pretty useless at this point in time. So the other actions I can do is if I have an action, I can do the action, or I can do what's called reaping, and reaping gains me amber shards. So I'm actually going to use, he's got an action which is steal one. So we're going to use that action, and we're going to steal one of these over to our side, which I like. And then this guy right here, he's going to reap. So we're going to use him to generate one. It's kind of like they're going out and mining up some shards. All right, now I have another action that I can do, which I think I'm going to take that action, which is on the low tide here, I can spend 2, and then I'm going to raise the tide. I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to spend 2 of mine. We're going to raise the tide up to high tide. So high tide makes it tougher. Now instead of 3, it's going to take him 6 in order to advance. All right, so we're going to be done at that point. We're going to unexhaust our things. We're going to draw back up to 6 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, so it's looking like maybe an Untamed turn next turn. We shall see. All right, so I'm going to go over the Keyraken's turn. So first thing on the Keyraken's turn, there's no cards in the archive, so we're going to draw a card and see what happens. All right, we get, boom, Title Trouble. So first thing is we're going to get a shard. Drop that out there. Oop, there we go. And then we have a play, stun your most powerful creature and each creature that shares a house with it. If the tide is high, I can lower the tide instead. So stun, actually, let's grab these. I have these out here. We'll go ahead and use these. I hadn't thought about it, but kind of accurate. All right, all these characters are stunned at this point in time. In order to clear this stun, what I need to do is I need to do an action with them. And when I do that, it will take away the stun status. My Marvel Champions cards that are just conveniently out here work great for this. All right. All right, next up is, so that was our card that we drew. I could have lowered the tide to avoid that, but I think I'm okay with that. So then the Keyraken's going to reap. He's going to get his 3rd. All right, so that is the end of the Keyraken's turn. We're over to my turn. Now, I could do shadows and try to clear all of these stuns, because I could do an action with each of them, but then I wouldn't be able to play any cards in my hand because I have no shadows cards. So this turn instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose Untamed, or sorry, yes, Untamed. We're going to go with Untamed. Now I've got a whole bunch of Untamed things that I can do. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to play this Hunting Witch. So the Hunting Witch has, each time you play another creature, gain 1. All right. So I like that. So Hunting Witch is going to come into play, going to be exhausted. Let's see here. We're going to play Nature's Call, which is not going to do anything. It says return up to 3 creatures to their owner's hands. I'm not going to return any. Really what I want is I'm going to play this and get that shard and then decide to return none. Actually, hold on. I'm going to hold that back for a second because we are going to be a little bit cheesy here in a second. All right, so here's what we're going to do is we're going to play, first we're going to play Witch of the Eye, which when I reap with her, I can return a card from my discard pile to my hand, so I can't do anything with her yet, but we're going to bring her into play. She comes into play exhausted. says when I play another creature, I gain one. So we're going to gain one. All right, next thing we're going to do is we're going to play Nature's Call, which says return up to 3 creatures to their owner's hands. All right, so actually I'm going to return 1 creature to my hand. And I'm going to return this creature to my hand, so that's 2 creatures to my hand. And then I'll be done with the action on that card. And then we're going to play Witch of the Eye again. When I play Witch of the Eye, I get a token. Then we're going to play Nocturnal Maneuver, which says exhaust up to 3 creatures. I'm not going to exhaust any creatures, but I'm going to get that 1 that it generates. So I'm up to 4. Now, I will hold on to that. Oops, sorry, the witch should be exhausted when she came into play. All right. So we are going to be done at that point in time. So we're going to unexhaust, unexhaust. I'm going to draw back up to 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. Keep wanting to say villain's turn, but it's the Keyraken's turn at this point in time. So no cards in the archive. We're going to draw a card. We get Behold its Grandeur. Keyraken gains 1 for each creature you control that shares a house with 1 or more of its neighbors to a maximum of 4. Oof. All right, so each creature that shares a house with 1 or more of its neighbors, it's going to get 4. Wow, so he just got a whole lot. All right. Keyraken is going to see, he's going to go ahead and he's going to reap. So he's got a lot of shards right now. What do we got there? We got 8 shards. So the next turn he's probably going to cash in on the high tide. Right, so he's done. It's over to my turn. I've got 4, so I can't forge a key yet. I need 6 in order to forge a key, which I don't have yet. So I'm still a bit low. All right, next question is, which house am I going to choose? I could go Shadows. I do have a creature over here that's a dis creature. I think I'm kind of waiting on getting some bad guys in order to do some good dis stuff at this point in time. I'm not impressed with my Untamed. I could Shadows and steal 1, but that's not going to put me into a position where, well, I also could clear the stunned off of those guys, which would be nice too. Wow, choices right now. So I could go Untamed. So cards I'm looking at for Untamed is I've got this Lost in the Woods. That would shuffle cards back into my deck. I don't know that I'm excited about that. I could return a creature card from my discard pile to my hand, so that would net me a shard. I could do something like attack with the witch, which would then put her in my discard pile. I could get her back, play her again, and get yet another shard. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go Shadows. So here's what I'm going to do with Shadows. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to play my Urchin. All right, so when I play my Urchin, I get to steal 1. All right, so Urchin comes into play. Exhausted, I get to steal 1. So I'm going to steal 1, that's going to turn into a shard. I'm going to exhaust Naughty the Thief to get rid of my stunned. I'm going to exhaust my Umbra to get rid of my stunned. I am going to then I'll play Relentless Whispers, which says deal 2 damage to a creature. If damage destroys the creature, steal 1. So it's going to generate 1. Then I need to do 2 damage to a creature. I'm going to do 2 damage to this urchin here, which is going to destroy that. And when I do that, it says I do 2 damage, deal 2 to a creature. If this damage destroys that creature, steal 1. So I'm going to steal another 1 from over here. Okay. I'm going to be done at that point in time. I've got myself set up in a situation where I could potentially forge a key next round. I'm going to unexhaust and draw 2. So we've got some hunting. Ooh, 2 cooperative huntings. All right. So I'm done. We're over to the Keyraken's turn. So Keyraken, first thing we're going to look at, he has 6 shards out there. So we're going to get rid of that, and he's going to advance. It's kind of like his forge a key thing. So the cost for the Keyraken to advance is 6 per player. So the Keyraken is going to advance, and after it advances, I lower the tide. So it's going to go back to this other side here. All right. So he's going to advance. He's 1 up on the advancement track. Actually, hey, let's do it this way. Boom. There we go. 1 up on the advancement track. There we go. All right. Next thing is going to happen is we're going to draw a card and see what it is, and we get Ascending Jet. And it's an artifact. It's going to come into play. So artifact comes into play. Exhausted. All right. So we got our card. We're going to do the Keyraken. The Keyraken's going to reap for 1. Then we would do any artifact things, but it's exhausted, so it doesn't get to do its thing. Keyraken's turn is done. All right, we're back to my turn. My turn, I've got 7 shards out here, so I'm going to use 6 of those to forge a key. First key is forged. All right, what that means is he loses 2 armor, so he's only got 4 armor right now. All right, I need to choose a house. These cooperative huntings would be great if he had some things out there, but he doesn't have anything out there. I could get this creature out. I could give him hazardous. It returns an enemy creature to his hand, but that doesn't do a whole lot of good. The other thing is I could go untamed and discard a bunch of cards in hopes that I get stuff back. I also can reap and put a card from my discard pile back into my hand. That could be kind of interesting. All right, so let's do that. We're going to reap with Witch of the Eye, which we're going to go Untamed. We're going to reap, which says return a card from your discard pile to my hand. We're actually going to go back here and grab this urchin and put him back into my hand. And when we reap, we get shard, then oh, did I do that right? I didn't do that right. Oh, dang it. Instead of the urchin, we're going to get back our whispers. Okay. Then we're going to use our regrowth, which is this one here, to return a creature card from my discard pile back to my hand. We'll use that one to get that guy back, and I get 1 for that. All right, we're still on Untamed. I think we're going to reap with the Hunting Witch. So we're up to 4. I think we're going to discard these 3. All right, and we're going to be done. Draw back up to 6. I'm going to unexhaust. All right, over to the other side. So can't ascend at this point in time. And draw a card. And we get defend the Keyraken. So he's going to get 1. And then we have ward the Keyraken and each of its creatures. So a ward token. Let's see here. Let's grab some out of my thing. So a ward is kind of like, actually, it is essentially a tough status card. So we're going to give the Keyraken a tough status card. That's going to be our ward. Because it blocks the damage is essentially what a ward does. All right. After that, the Keyraken is going to reap. And then we're going to look at our Ascending Jet here, which is an artifact that's going to go off. And it says, give the Keyraken's creature with the lowest power 3+1 counters. If that creature has 9 or more power, destroy the Ascending Jet and lower the tide. All right, so Keyraken's got no creatures to give stuff to. So that's just going to sit around. All right, we're back over to my turn. What are we going to do on my turn? I think we're going to go back. So first off is I don't have enough to forge a key. We will go shadows again. So we're going to do that thing where we're going to play the urchin. I play the urchin, I get to steal 1. So we're going to take 1, we're going to turn it into one of mine. And then we're going to, I think we're going to go through that same maneuver again where we're going to do Relentless Whispers. So we're going to deal 2 and steal 1, plus we get 1. We're going to deal 2 and we're going to take out this creature. So I get 1 for playing that, plus because I destroyed a creature, I get another 1. All right. We're still doing shadows stuff, so as an action, I'm going to steal another 1. There we go. And then we're going to reap over here for 1. Get us yet another 1. Now as an omni action, I can spend 2. I'm going to put this back to high tide again. All right, so it's going to be the end of my turn. I'm going to ready my stuff up. I'm going to draw back up to 6. Got a Dusk Runner and a Dew Fairy. All right. Bad guy's turn. You can't advance. So let's see here. Next thing's going to happen is we're going to draw a card. Card is Into the Abyss. So we're going to get 1 for that. And we have play. Discard your hand and draw 4 cards. If the tide is high, I can lower the tide instead. I think I will go ahead and discard my hand and draw 4 cards. Now I do have, would be nice to get the Dusk Runner out there, which is a reap and steal 1. But we'll let that go. Draw 4 cards. We're going to get another Urchin, Guardian Demon, Tentacus, and the Pit Lord. Pit Lord does a lot of damage. All right. That's his card. He's going to reap because that's what he can do. You don't have a prey. There's a prey keyword which allows him to attack. This would bump up any minions that he has. Doesn't have any right now. All right, so it's back over to my turn. Beginning of my turn, I have 7, so I can get rid of 6 to forge a key. We're up to 2 keys, which means he's got 2 armor right now. All right, I'm going to choose a house. I think we're going to go this. We're going to grab our archive. And we're going this round. All right, so we're going to play a Tentacus, and the Tentacus says he's going to have to pay 1 in order to use an artifact. And then we'll do a Succubus. Artwork on these cards is amazing. This is not going to affect him, but it's a card I can get out there. Oh, these cards come into play exhausted. And I'm going to have to move. I'm going to probably run out of space for my battle line here. We're going to play a Guardian Demon. So when he comes into play, I can heal up to 2 damage and deal that damage to another creature, but there's nobody to heal at this point in time, so. And the last thing I'm going to play is a Pit Lord. So the Pit Lord says he's going to have Taunt, which means if something comes to attack, it's going to have to attack the Pit Lord first. But I have to choose Dis as my active house each round. He's a big bad, but I have to choose Dis each round. All right, so that may or may not be a wise choice. You will find out. All right, when he comes into play, I also get 2. Okay, so that's the end of my turn. I'm going to clean this up, and I'm going to draw back up to 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, Keyraken's turn. All right, first thing I have to worry about is, can we advance? No, because we need 6 to advance. He's got 3. So the next step, we're going to draw a card. Card is going to be a Grappling Tentacle. So this is our first creature that's coming out for our Keyraken. So this has the Prey keyword, which means that it will actually attack instead of reaping. All right, so when I play, Grappling Tentacle captures 3 from you if the tide is low. Grappling Tentacle captures 6 instead. So capture means that this stuff is going to go on his card. He's going to capture 3 of mine, jerk, and hold on to him and hold on to it until I take him out. This is going to get kind of complicated also. All right. Next thing that's going to happen is we've got the Keyraken out there. The comes into play exhausted. Keyraken is going to reap. So he's going to go up to 4. All right, we would do creatures, but the Grappling Tentacle came into play and he's exhausted. We do have to do the artifact that's out there, and the artifact says, give the Keyraken's creature with the lowest power 3+1/+1 counters if the creature has 9 or more, destroy Ascending Jet and lower the tide. All right, so we're going to give the Grappling Tentacle 3+1/+1 counters. We'll do it with these. All right, so he's going to get 3 counters on him. That does fulfill making his power 9. So this is going to be destroyed, and it lowers the tide back down. All right. That's going to be the end of the Keyraken's turn. So this comes off of there. We're back over to my side. All right. My side of the board. I got to figure out what I'm going to do here. And I think we're going to go Dis this round. All right. First thing we're going to do is we're going to play Fear. Fear says return an enemy creature to its owner's hand. All right. So we're going to put the Grappling Tentacle back into his hand. So I get my 3 back. Grappling Tentacle goes into his archive, essentially, which is his hand. All right, next thing I'm going to play is Mind Barb, which has your opponent discards a card at random from their hand, which I get 1 when I play that. And the only card he's got in his hand is this one, so it goes away. All right, next up, I forgot that last turn. So last turn, your opponent must pay you 1 in order to use an artifact. Oop, bonk. You used that artifact, so I got 1 from that. All right. Now, there's essentially he's got a ward on him, the Keyraken does. So we're going to exhaust our Tentacus to attack the Keyraken. It's going to get rid of the ward. Actually, let's do that with the Succubus. So the Succubus is going to attack the Keyraken. So he's got a power of 3, but he's got a ward. So the Tentacus is going to take no damage. The Tentacus does 3 damage back, which is going to be enough to take out the Succubus. All right. Next thing we're going to do is our Tentacus is going to attack the Keyraken. Exhaust to attack. He's attacking for 5. The Keyraken has, because I forged 2 keys, the Keyraken has 2 armor, which I'll go through. And then I'm going to do 3 damage with the rest of it. So it's going to go down to 27. All right, we're starting to do damage. That's good. All right, I take 3 damage back from the Keyraken. Ooh, this is going to be tricky to represent all of this. So 3 damage back to the Tentacus. All right. Our Guardian Demon is going to fight also. Ooh, do I want to fight or do I want to? I think we'll go ahead and fight. So we're going to fight. Exhaust to fight. He's going to attack for 4. We're going to take 3 back. But we do 4 damage because we've already gone through the armor. All right, then our Pit Lord is going to attack. And we're going to take 3 damage. But we're going to do 9. So take that down. There we go. All right, next card I'm going to play is... Ooh, I forgot about that too. Hunting Witch. I played... Oh, I missed it. Dang it. I should have had a lot more tokens out there. I should have my 3rd key already, but I forgot about my Hunting Witch, which I get every time I play a creature. I should have gotten all of that. Darn it. All right. We're going to do Hysteria. And Hysteria says, return each creature to its owner's hand. So we're going to put all of these back in my hand. I'll pick all of this up. So actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick all of this up. And then I'm going to play these. All right. And then I spend 2 to raise the tide. All right, back to high tide. When I play him, I gain 2. Ooh, which makes me think I'm not going to raise the tide. We'll leave the tide low. Because I would like to advance again. Or forge another key. All right, so I'm going to be done at that point in time and exhaust my stuff. I have more than 6 cards, so I don't get to draw any. We're going to go over to Keyraken's turn. So first thing is, Keyraken's going to spend 3 to advance. He's going to go up 1 more. We got 2 out of 4. All right, Keyraken's going to draw a card. We're going to get a Slippery Arm, which is elusive. All right. And that's going to come into play exhausted. All right, then the Keyraken is going to reap. We've got no artifacts or things. All right, Keyraken's done. It's over to my turn. I have 2, 4, 6. So I'm going to forge my 3rd key. So now I have 3 keys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, this is a pretty straightforward thing here. What's going to go on is now the Keyraken's got no armor at this point in time. I'm going to attack, and attack. So I'm going to do 9 plus 4, plus 5. We're going to do 18 total. And we would take 3 on each of these. It's not going to matter because he's at 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. We're able to take out the Keyraken. So I can go past the slippery arm, don't have to worry about it. And go in the Keyraken and take out the Keyraken. There we go. There's a win on Keyforge Adventures easy mode. So that was the easiest mode possible. Just the 1 card per turn. Standard is 2 cards per turn. So there's kind of a taste of what Rise of the Keyraken looks like. I have played this with another deck, and I just did horribly. I think there's some about the combo of cards that you have. Obviously, some of the cards in here really don't do a whole lot of good. I'm trying to think of. I've got stuff that unforges a key for the Keyraken. That does not do me any good in this game. Things that reduce the cards that he can have in his hand doesn't do me any good in this game. So some card effects have limited potential versus the Keyraken. This deck seems to be doing all right. I'm kind of interested to try out some of my other decks and see how they go. So next game, maybe I'll bump it up to 2 so you can see what it looks like when you're doing the standard mode where the Keyraken is throwing out 2 cards per turn. You end up with a lot more minions out there and things going wrong with your creatures and stuff. So actually I drew pretty good this game, so I'm pretty happy with that. All right, so taste of Keyforge Adventures, Rise of the Keyraken. If I missed a rule, let me know, because it's my first playthrough of this, and it's quite possible I missed a rule. If there is one that I missed, I'll note it and put up a little tag in the corner saying, you know, I got something wrong there. But there we go. It's a win. It's a win. I'll take it and I'll run with it. So that's it for now. Looking forward to more Keyforge playing, and thanks for watching.